As the true American patriot that I am, back in the 15, 16, and even 1700s, I was pretty pissed off that the Europeans came and, colonized us. Taking our land, stepping all over the grass, stepping all over the crops, taxing us. Now, of course, I wasn't alive for any of that, and I really doubt that most of you were either. But that doesn't mean I still can't be mad. So today I decided, how about the United States of America and all of the Americas as a whole get a little bit of revenge by finally being able to colonize all of Afro-Eurasia. And yeah, I know Africa and Australia were both also colonized themselves, but that's not the point. The point is we're just gonna see what would happen if the Americas were to colonize all of this land instead. As we can see, all of Europe and Asia and Australia and even Africa are all just wastelands right now. There's nothing going on. They're all just keeping to themselves with, like the animals that are just roaming around. But all of that is about to change. Maybe Brazil will take over Africa. Maybe the US will take over Great Britain. Maybe Greenland will take over Iceland. I don't know. Anything could happen. The year is currently 2000 that we're starting in. I really hope nothing goes wrong in the next year or so. But as of right now, kingdom expansion is off. So we're going to turn that on and we're going to get right into it with an unpause. There we go. Holy crap, they already colonized Canada, who has 800 people, literally immediately colonized Spain, and now they have a colony right here. But who's going to be the next one here? And by the way, if any of you guys are wondering, this video goes until the entire world is colonized. And then after that, we may have all of the colonized areas form an alliance and go to war with the Americas just to see who would win. But for now, the year is currently 2025 and nothing other than Canada colonizing Spain has changed. So we're going to sim roughly 250 years to year 2250, and we're going to see how much of this world can change. And here we are at year 250 or 2250, and this is just not what I expected. How is this possible? Canada has colonized all of Europe, literally all of Europe, the north half of Africa, and is steamrolling through Asia. And there's still a bunch of land left, but no one else has done anything. At first I thought maybe they don't have boats or ports, but they clearly do right here. I mean, even Greenland has ships. I mean, I genuinely have no clue why only Canada is expanding out, because this is just getting insane. I mean, they have like the entire world under their control. They used to be part of the British Empire, but now they are the British Empire. I thought the US would do at least something here. At least we still have most of Africa, Madagascar, all of Australia. They could probably fit a kingdom here in Southeast Asia. And China and India and Siberia are still untouched as well. But I think I have a little twist here which might spice up this video extremely tenfold. If we go in the world laws here, I do have diplomacy turned off, meaning that no wars or any conflicts can break up. But if we know anything about actual history, like European history, this is not accurate to life. So we're gonna turn this on real quick. But for the sake of saking, we are going to leave rebellions off. However, that might change very soon. Now with this on, this pretty much really only gives Canada a chance to grow their power even more. I kind of forgot that they have so many people now. I genuinely think that they now have more soldiers than all of these other countries combined have people. So they're pretty powerful, but you don't want to mess with the US, the United States of America. They're going to drop a nuke on you. Hell, they might even drop two. Let me just give you an example of one in a completely random location that has no tie to real life at all. Boom, right there. See? Here, let's drop two for just no reason at all either. That's what they'll do to you. Although I don't think they have this kind of technology, considering their best soldiers are holding stone hammers. But either way, let's just unpause for a bit. Let's see if anything at all happens. Maybe someone colonizes. Maybe a different country colonized. Ooh, an alliance was formed. I forgot they can do that now. Actually, a lot of alliances are forming. There's Peru, Chile, and Venezuela have formed a South American alliance, while Colombia and Mexico have formed a Central American alliance right here. Oh, and the US joined this alliance over here. Oh, here we go. A new kingdom has been formed. Wait, huh? You gotta be kidding me. The only new kingdom that forms is independent. Seriously? Bro, just get out of here. That's not what we're trying to do. He just left. He just wanted to be on his own. No. Although Canada is, look how fast their army is growing. Jeez. Yeah, they're extremely powerful. However, Canada's only supposed to hold 5 cities at max. So, you know, I might have a sneaky little idea on how to maybe make some room for some other countries. We are going to turn on rebellions. But more than that, we're also going to turn on angry villagers too. So maybe a rebellion will strike up and the entire population of the village will get obliterated, leaving room for someone else to go in. Probably not a very ethical plan, but you know, it could work. But we're going to sim another, you know, 220 years or so to year 2500 and just see if, you know, anyone else has done anything at all. Okay, so I know it's 100 years earlier than I said, but so much has happened that I just can't help but intervene here. So the entire world, you know, like it tends to do, has gone to crap. Europe has reclaimed itself. New kingdoms have popped up all over. Hell, a kingdom in Asia called Amer has popped up. So you just add Ika right there, and then boom, you have America. Canada has lost its grasp on everything except for Africa. I believe Brazil colonized part of Africa at one point, but now they're all part of Chile. So, you know, that's just weird. This European kingdom up here has now started colonizing itself after being colonized, and it's taken over Madagascar and some of Southeast Asia. Chile has also started colonizing, believe it or not, Antarctica. Alaska has also declared independence from the US, and they've begun colonizing too. And they've also begun colonizing Antarctica, which, you know, for them actually kind of makes sense because it's similar climates. But lastly, and probably most ironically, the US has finally done some colonizing of its own. Oh boy, where did they go? Where could it possibly? The Middle East. They colonized the Middle East. So just, I'm not going to even comment on that. Just take that as you will. But we still have a little bit of room left to expand. I guess there's actually areas in Antarctica that can be expanded to. Although I think global warming may have taken its toll, because why are there palm trees down here in Antarctica? What the why? And why are they right next to normal trees? I didn't even know there was trees in Antarctica. What is going on here? But a lot of these new kingdoms have super weird names, so I'm going to rename all of them real quick just to make them a little bit more realistic and easy to, you know, read. Okay, so I renamed a bunch of the kingdoms to, you know, semi-accurate names of the region. We have Naropa, Baltica, Moscow, the Northern Republic, Siberica, totally not America, African Union, the Free Alaskan Federation, and Penguin Land. I named them Penguin Land down here because these guys are their own kingdom, and for some reason they just decided to live in Antarctica, so you know, they can do what they want. But to prevent this world from diving even deeper into chaos than it already is, because I mean this is hard to look at, we are going to turn off rebellions and diplomacy for now, just to see what happens next. There's still some spots in Antarctica to claim, Eastern Siberia is still open, and of course Australia too. You know, there's a reason why I always hate on Australia in all my videos, because no one wants it. I mean, like, it's the last here for a reason. But I apologize to all my Australian viewers. I know there's like 60 or whatever, but I mean, sorry, not sorry, dude. It's kind of funny. Also, hold up, before we do anything else, let me just get rid of New Zealand. Just like, okay, there we go. That makes me feel a lot better. Like, it genuinely does now that they're gone. Okay, but anyway, we're gonna sim for a while here. I'm not gonna give a certain year goal. I'm just gonna sim till something interesting happens, because like I said, we still have a couple spots here left to fill. So I'll see you guys whenever something cool happens. I don't know. Okay, so it's only been 50 years, but literally everything that could happen has happened. Like, Australia has been triple colonized here, first by the African Union, then totally not America, then totally America. Now, this is gonna be like an ultimate tension test here, especially when that war breaks out. Canada has gone to quite literally the furthest part away at the map here. Like, look at it. They're right here. They have gone all the way down here to the bottom right part of Antarctica. Mexico has finally decided to colonize, and by that I mean they made a kingdom down here in Antarctica. And the African Union has also expanded into Antarctica as well. And possibly the only move that has made sense in just these past 50 years is the Northern Republic colonizing Siberia. which makes sense because they're close, same climate, same temperature. That's literally the only thing that's made sense this whole video. But a lot of these countries for some reason are like super weak, even though they can hold more people. Like Mexico can hold like almost double its current population. So we are going to do a war here. And I think the most fair war we could do here is probably the countries that we started out with against the countries that currently exist. But we may have to tweak a few countries here or there just to see how it turns out. But we should give these countries some time to, prepare. So I'm going to send 250 years, this time for sure, no matter what. No rebellions or diplomacy on. That means at year 2700, an all-out war is going to break loose. And we're going to see if the colonizers or the colonized are going to be the best here. And here we are at year 2700. And like I expected, nothing really changed except for populations. But before we go and make these alliances and start this war, how about we check interesting people to see what countries are the best people from? So the richest is this dude Jordich from Canada. Unsurprisingly, they were the first to colonize. It makes sense. Somehow the happiest people, 2 out of 3 of them, are from Penguin Land, which I guess, I guess they probably are pretty happy down there. The smartest is a cat named Jax. What a sweet guy. Awesome cat. While the dumbest appear to equally be from different countries like Totally Not America, Normal America, and Penguin Land. The fastest dude's from Chile, and the strongest is from Totally Not America, while the most health is from Europa. But with all that down, let me make some cool alliances real quick, and try to make them as even as possible. So let me introduce you to the colonizers, containing Canada, the US, Mexico, Colombia, Chile, the Free Alaskan Federation, and Greenland. Although I don't know if Greenland counts because they literally only have 4 people and they haven't done a thing this whole video. But on the other side, we have Vengeance, containing Totally Not America, Europa, Baltica, Moscow, the Northern Republic, Siberica, and the African Union. And these numbers are actually really close. And oh yeah, by the way, Penguin Land, I couldn't really make them fit, so they're just gonna watch the whole time. They're chill guys. They don't really do anything. I mean, look at them. But with enough chitter chatter and all that, whisper of war, let's have America declare war on Totally Not America, meaning that these 2 alliances are now in full war. Now, I do have to say, before we even totally begin, the colonizers do have a good advantage of already having a strong foothold in Afro-Eurasia over here, because they have all of Northern Africa and the Middle East under their control, while Vengeance has nothing on the Americas and very little in Antarctica either. But Vengeance does have 10 more people, for whatever that's worth, and they have about 60 more soldiers than the colonizers do. But either way, we're just going to click unpause and watch this war begin. Remember that Angry Villagers is on as population on both kingdoms, and war population is flying down. The battle for Australia is intense. I'm not quite sure who's gonna win this one, because the colonizers have a very small foothold here. This is a very even war. The Middle East has been taken over by Totally Not America. Canada is still fighting, but look how little people they have. Populations are still about even, but it looks like Vengeance is on top, as Vengeance has just completely destroyed Scandinavia. It's gone. Africa's still getting weak here. The African Federation is starting to take some villages here. However, it looks like that Australia is actually going to go into the hands of the United States right here, which is shocking because they only had 1 out of the 3 villages in their control. Europa has been relegated to Madagascar in Southeast Asia, and they no longer even have their original village. Whoa, what is this? Penguin Land has settled in Scandinavia in the wreckage. They're just trying to get a front row seat. The African Union is getting pushed back heavily. And I mean heavily. They're about to be destroyed. The African Union is gone. And looking at the map here, it still seems like the Vengeance has a slight lead, but they have lost control of Africa and completely lost Antarctica as well. I genuinely can't even tell who's winning here, as Africa is starting to fall here. The Middle East has fallen, but it's just a constant back and forth, and so many have died. The war has been going on just 11 years, and 1.4 thousand people have already died. However, according to the stats, the colonizers have lost more people, have less people, and a smaller army. As you know, I'm just realizing that the Vengeance actually took a sneaky village down here into Antarctica. Now the world's almost split in half, populations are starting to go back up, but Vengeance is launching a huge operation into Africa to try to take it back. And it's actually kind of successful, I can't lie. They're actually pretty close to pushing the colonizers out of Afro-Eurasia as a whole. And by the way, yeah, Penguin Land is now colonizing Spain. They're just doing whatever they can now. And Vengeance has pushed the colonizers out of Australia by just completely destroying the village. Madagascar has been destroyed. It looks like Vengeance could actually be pulling away here, as their population is now several hundred higher than the colonizers, and they have about 100 more troops too. They're probably going to start loading up their armies and sending invasions down onto the mainland of the colonizers. Can they do that though? Because that's going to be hard. However, holy crap, a huge invasion right here. The colonizers are gaining a foothold on Africa once again. Oh my god, this is actually such an evenly matched war, as Africa is getting absolutely destroyed. But you know what's also getting destroyed is South America, as the cities have been rocked and they're starting to fall. And this is bad news for the colonizers, who are just absolutely falling apart right here. They're doing their best to regain any land they can, but their population is now like 700 less than Vengeance. And with this war now have gone on for a hilarious 69 years, over 4,000 people have died. And the statistics are still in the favor of the Vengeance Alliance. They have nearly 800 more people, double the soldiers. But they have lost like literally 40 more people than the Americas have, which is actually insane how evenly matched this is. However, they have completely lost the African Union and Baltica, while the colonizers have yet to lose a kingdom completely. The colonizers are still trying their best though to take Africa, but it seems to fail every time. And what the hell is going on? South America is gone. Brazil has completely fallen, and Peru and Chile have fallen into the hands of totally not America, and they're pushing into Mexico now. On the other hand, the only thing going right for the colonizers at this point is that they still have complete control over Antarctica, but they're literally down to just North America at this point. Even Greenland has fallen, and troops from other countries are beginning to encroach on the land. The US has annexed Mexico, and naval invasions are now happening often. Each one is just weakening the country slightly more than the last, and over time it's going to add up. This war seems almost over. Both countries have lost so much, but Vengeance is nearly triple the size of the colonizers now. You know, I'm just realizing that Antarctica actually is probably the strongest holdout left of the colonizers. They still have a decent number of people over here. Maybe they'll be the ones to save the entire alliance, but as we go back up into north, that they might have to be. Holy crap, Ottawa is gone, Canada's gone, the United States of America is almost gone. And the only thing left on the mainland is Mexico, which is about to fall. Technically, it still says it's part of the US, and that has just fallen too. North America is gone. The only part left of the alliance is in Antarctica, of all places, which the troops are on their way to take down. I mean, look at this. We have actual naval wars up here. Troops have landed, and I guess some weird form of D-Day, where instead of, you know, like France or something, they're invading Antarctica. But only 2 more kingdoms exist here, of Mexico and the Free Alaskan Federation. Just 20 people left in the alliance as a whole. And the down goes Mexico, and right before Alaska falls, let's check the final war stats. The war lasted nearly 200 years, and over 7,200 people died. In the end, the Vengeance Seekers actually lost more people. They lost 3,800, while the colonizers only lost 3,400, but you know, I think the Vengeance sacrifice was greater, as the final conflict comes to an end, and Vengeance controls the world. I guess Penguin Land is here too, but you know, they haven't really done anything. You know, if anything, they're the true winners of this video. I mean, during that war, they were able to snipe locations that were destroyed. They now have colonies in South Africa, Chile and Argentina, Spain and Scandinavia. So I think that the moral of the story is just go live in Antarctica and become a penguin. It's pretty easy. No bias at all. But anyway, that is where this video will end. If you made it this far in the video, clearly you like something about it. So as you're leaving, just make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Farewell.